Okay, so just here's where I'm going to run through the maintenance questions you might be asked on your driving test for the purpose of the driving test. Yeah, these are also safety questions that you should always use when checking your vehicle anyway, to make sure your car is going to be fit and proper for road use. I suppose it might help you for MOT. So, first of all, I'm going to be checking that the ABS anti-lock brake system's working for a journey. In order to do this, I'm going to press the start button for the ignition being on. Looking down here for a light that illuminates saying ABS. The light has appeared and it's gone off. So this means the ABS anti-lock braking system is working before a journey. So the question we asked, how do you know that your ABS anti-lock brake system is working before a journey? Press the start button, look for the ABS light to appear and then disappear. If it remains on, then of course it'll be faulty. Okay, so that's ABS anti-lock brake system. Next one, while I've got the ignition on, I'll demonstrate how we'll check that the power steering is working for a journey. So the question would be, show me how you know your power steering is working before a move away or a journey. When the engine is off, it feels really heavy. I physically really find it really hard to move the wheel with all the grip. So what I'm going to try and do is start engine up. So it's going to be where I press the clutch down, press the engine to start. And then what I'm looking to find is that I can move the wheel freely from left to right without any hard movement. So if it feels stiff, then it's faulty. But if it moves freely, of course it's working fine when the engine's running. If it feels stiff when the engine's running, it's faulty. So I'm going to switch engine off for the next purpose and ignition back on to make it so that all my electrics will operate. Next question would be, show me how you'll check that your dip beam headlights and main beam headlights are on and they're working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my start button for my ignition to be on. I'm going to switch the lights down here to dip beam headlight. When it's on dip beam headlight, I can see the side light showing, but sometimes it shows the dip being green light. This vehicle doesn't show it, but it does illuminate on the switch. So when that's lit up, that's your dip beam headlight. For my main beam, I'm going to push the start away. I know it's on by the blue light on the dashboard. To check the bulb's working, I would get out and check, use a reflective surface or ask a passenger. Okay, I can push that away and back to auto to switch the lights off for the normal daytime running light. When I'd want to be asked how would you check your head restraint is adjusted correctly to give the best possible protection in an accident, what I'll do is I'll look around at my head restraint, make sure my eyes or ears are halfway up the head restraint. I'll press the button if required and move it up or down. So that's a question that they might ask you in relation to that, but it is something that you would definitely be included anyway in your ordinary cockpit drill. Now, if they ask you how to check your dip beam headlights are on, of course, and that you can switch on your fog lights, they might say, show me switch on your fog lights, tell me how you know they're on, and when would you use them. So I'll switch it on to dip beam first of all, and there's two buttons either side down here which look like two jellyfish. So the first one being the green light on the dash for the front fog light, the second one at the bottom for the rear fog light. So I can see on the dash that they're both lit up. I would say that I would use them when visibility drops below 100 meters, and I would need to get out and check that the bulbs are working, or ask a passenger and perhaps use a reflective surface such as a wall or garage door. So I'll press the two buttons in again to make sure they are off, and back to the auto for the normal daytime running light. So that's that. If they ask you how would you check that your brakes are working for moving away, what you should say is, when I press the brake pedal it should feel firm. If it shouldn't feel like a pedal, it should not feel like my clutch. So basically you just say, when I press the brake it should feel firm, should not feel like the clutch. You could expand on this and say that when you brake the car shouldn't veer or pull to either side. The next question I might ask you would be how you'll check your handbrake has sufficient wear and it is working before a journey. First of all, you press your foot brake, release the handbrake, and then when you want to apply the handbrake you would lift it up to feel resistance, and then you would know that it's not excessively worn by the signs of it and being able to stop without being lifted too far. Then you release your foot brake. Sometimes people say it should stop before it reaches the top, or it should feel resistance before the end of its travel. Whatever you find would work for you. You've got to find your own words and practice saying it. The other ones to do with your maintenance of your vehicle are going to be the ones mostly under your bonnet. So they're the main ones on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to press engine stop, and then we'll go round and look at the ones underneath the bonnet. Oh, minor one. Indicators. So if you check your left and right indicators, you'll put your left indicator on and your right indicator on and know that it's on inside the vehicle with the flashing lights. You'll say get out and check that all 6 bulbs are working, or use effective services, ask a passenger. You might press your hazard light and walk around, make sure all 6 bulbs are working. Brake lights, you'd press your brake pedal, and then you would say you'd get out and ask someone to get out and check for you, or use a reflective surface such as walls and garage doors. So that's all the ones inside, finally. Okay, so ignition off. So the bonnet catch is actually over the other side, so I'm going to have to walk around the vehicle, usually walking around the back. Opening passenger door, here's the bonnet catch, so I'm going to lift that up. Just underneath there is a yellow lever that I'll move across, so you move that lever across and then you lift the bonnet. After I've lifted the bonnet, you can see this catch move across, and I lift this catch out and pop it into the hole where it is placed. There's an arrow pointing into it, and it's got a hook on it, so that when it blows, when the wind is blowing, it doesn't blow away your top of your bonnet. So first of all, if they ask you how you check your oil, do first of all describe here. They'll say not to change part of the engine, because of course it will be hot. Here's your dipstick. You'll describe that you pull the dipstick out, clear the stick, replace the stick, and on the stick there should be 2 marks. It should be marked between the minimum and maximum, that the level should be between there. But of course, doing this when the engine is cold, my engine is hot, so I will not check. Just here is where the oil is, where you'll top it up. So this has got another oil can symbol. To find recommended fluids, if they ask you that, you would say you would find them in your manual. If they ask you how often you do the checks, you can say every day if you want to, but tend to do weekly and before long journeys. If you we're doing it when the engine's cold, of course, do it when the engine's cold, not hot. We tend to replace the oil when it's hot, so then the oil's got more viscosity, it can actually be drained a lot better. And if they ask you how often, just say weekly, before long journeys, or every day. But remember those 2 marks, minimum and maximum. Now, your engine coolant level is just here, so you look on the side of the bottle, make sure it's between the minimum and maximum marks. So you do it when the engine's cold. Recommended fluid found in the handbook, usually every day. Okay, just back here is your brake fluid. Again, you'll just look on the side of the reservoir, make sure it's between the minimum and maximum marks. Recommended fluid found in the handbook. Recommended fluid falls fine in the handbook, but every day engine should be cold. If they ask you what the level should be between, of course, that minimum maximum mark. Screen wash is this one here. That one, unfortunately, you can't see the level on that one, so you keep that one regularly topped up. Now when I get back, I will show you a full tyre, because we need to be able to inspect the internal parts of the inner part of the tyre, as well as the external outside part, perimeter, and the tread. But what I'm going to do is show that on a tyre at home. But what I will do is just quickly inspect the tyres. So here we go. So I'm going to pop the catch back so it's still just here. Make sure you have a good click and it's well supported. There's the catch that we moved across. What we need to do is about waist height, is hold the bonnet about your waist height and then just release the bonnet. The reason why you want to only drop it from about waist height, from up here, it would damage the clips, but about from waist height is a good drop, would be sufficient. It's just that if you push the bonnet down, you could end up denting the bonnet, so you want to hear a good clunk that it does shut about waist height, so it's not too high or too low. Okay, so a quick visual section of the tyres. Of course, your tyres, you'd walk around, make sure all 4 tyres are all pumped up. You find the recommended tyre pressures in your manual. You'll check with a tyre pressure gauge. If you was going to be needing to top them up, of course, you would top them up with an appropriate tyre pressure pump. But of course, remember, you've got the circumference of the tyre for your tread depth. You've got to make sure it's above 1.6mm tread around the whole tyre, with no cuts and bulges or defects. And of course, you would do them every day. You should really do them every day, especially if you were to be sharing a car, because it could be defected. If someone was driving it and damaged the car, it's actually you that has the offence. So what we need to do is make sure it's 1.6mm around the whole tyre with no cuts and bulges. Recommended tyres provided in the manual, and you would do those checks every day. But of course, you know, it would be something for road safety, isn't it? You want to be able to have that contact patch to the road. It's probably the most important part. So that's the end of the maintenance questions. Hopefully you found them constructive, and I'm going home. Oh gosh, can't wait. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, here's the spare tyre that I have, or spare alloy wheel. So what I'm looking for is to make sure there's no cuts and bulges around the entire outside circumference of the wheel. Around the back, make sure there's no cuts and bulges or damage or defects. Recently, I've had to use this tyre. It was nice and clean, but I had to use this wheel because I had a pothole damage and it defected my wheel on the car. So this is my spare one that I have, but this one is in perfect condition. But if you get a pothole damage, it can damage the inner part of the rim, and of course you wouldn't notice. But hopefully you just have to inspect with your wheel locked either side to side, visually inspect the tyre from the back and the front, the outside part of the tyre, and also your tread. Of course, make sure it's above 1.6 millimeters of tread. Now these little dimples here, these little things, you know, if you see those, they're a manufacturer's wear indicator. Sometimes these can be higher than the 1.6 millimeters, but of course if it is getting to that level, it is getting close, so do make sure you consider replacing it. There should be no excessive wear on either side. This could be through underinflation or overinflation or tracking system out. But what you're looking to try and find is that there should be even tread pattern across, no extra wear in a certain place, but also visually inspect the whole tyre pressures. With this valve, you'd undo your tyre valve while you undo your dust cap, and then you would use a tyre pressure pump to pump the tyre up. I'll quickly show you one of those, and make sure you're at the correct tyre pressure. Find those in the manual, recommended tyre pressures, of course, in your manual, or you can find them online. Okay, and I'll quickly just show you one of those tyre. So this is what I use for measuring my tyre pressure. I would normally pop that into my compressor. This is quite similar to what you'd get at a garage. You pop this onto your valve. So here's a demonstration of it on my bike. So that, I think the valve is on the other side, which will be a problem. So you'll undo your valve, pop this onto your valve, push it on firmly, and then it should read your tyre pressure. You would pull or push this lever in to inflate, and when you release, you should be able to get your reading, and make sure you're at your recommended PSI or bar level, pounds per square inch or bar. Don't know what that one means, but you'll use mostly PSI. Okay.